Hello, this is Christoph with Kaiserworks presenting the Beadle. This will be a fairly fast-paced overview of our interiors and furniture selections. We're looking here in the north direction. We're just across the street from Thomas looking into that first floor lobby, and I'm going to navigate us right up to the front door. Looking into this front door, we can see our flagstone. This is our flagstone travertine by Eco Outdoor that starts at the sidewalk and goes right into the interior. And then over here on the right hand side, we have our Viola Calcutta marble reception desk. This is our digital wall on the right hand side. And then directly in front of us, this is going to be our polygal that has an aluminum, satin aluminum behind it. And we're talking now about doing integrated signage for tenants that would be located on this wall behind that polygal, potentially backlit, so they'd be glowing through. And we've looked at some precedents of a treatment like that, and we're very happy with the aesthetic, and think it'll really kind of upscale individual tenant locations. I'm going to move quickly over to the west side of the building, looking into that space through that entry door here. We have our two channel glass rooms. This is the smaller conference room belonging to Suite 2, the larger common conference room on the right hand side, both clad in channel glass, and we have our globe lights that you can see through there. And walking forward again, we have our flagstone treatment that again is on the exterior and goes right into the interior. The effort there is to let the lobby space feel like an extension of the outdoors, like you're walking through a concourse. At this location here, you step into the indoors, and if you turn hard left, you'll enter Suite 2, proceed forward, and you'll go into the lobby space beyond. This on the left-hand side is about a lounge by Hay, and this is the George Nelson bench located just to the right of it. This is the dancing pendant by Menu just above it. We think these sort of scenes really help compose and make casual, usable space amidst more densely loaded workspace. We'll come back to that suite in just a minute. Walking into the lobby now, looking towards the south and east, we have our Bellini sofa, and this again is the Calcutta marble. We're doing these small custom cubes as well as these larger rectilinear coffee tables that kind of punctuate this space and make it hospitable. Somebody can come in here. The design of this sofa, as we've talked about previously, is such that you can get multiple groupings of people on all sides. Here we have our reception desk, which is now lower. This came on the heels of a city comment. This needs to be ADA accessible, and so we've dropped that counter height, but we're actually really liking the sleekness of that form. This is a custom piece that we've finished the drawings on, and just above that we have our large globe pendant lights. On the right hand side you can see this polygal composite. Again, we're in model world, so everything looks a little bit Sim City, but this is a good general reference representation. This is going to be a reflective material that has a vertical striation, which is a sort of smaller scale of what's happening with that channel glass beyond. And I'm going to move us forward to our conference table. Katifa Sensit by Arper are the chairs that we're looking at here in a vegan leather, and we've looked at a number of different options on our conference table, and we're dialing that in now based on materiality. But we have this very interesting base that's either going to be a matte black or a chrome finish, and then beyond the edge of our flagstone we have our sea of deer grass that wanders from outside to inside, and so you're literally sitting amongst the plants. The ceiling plane in here is our tectum, and here again we have an aluminum clad column. Moving us back over towards Suite 2, this is the Sila chair by Arbor, and this is a vegan leather by Sprayling that we're going to be upholstering these with to give it a fully custom finished product. And we're on another floor surface here that is a rug, custom rug by Resource Flooring, and here we have one of our singular globe lights just above that table. The table, we're still dialing in what that table is going to be. Rotating down to the entrance of Suite 2, we're looking into that space. We see that flagstone by Eco coming right through the space, and the back wall on this back side over here we're seeing is a dark charcoal paint as a backdrop to that scene. This is our custom millwork using European sycamore, and this is the antenna modular desk by Knoll as the kind of centerpiece to this area here, and we're looking now at armatures that will enable us to affix these monitors to the desk, so they're just to keep things tidy, like we had talked about in our last meeting. This here is the Artimity um, task lamp, and I'm going to move us. That task lamp is called Ptolemeo. And then pivoting back to this corner suite over here, this is a Noguchi light, and this is again this About a Lounge by Hay, and that is our dancing pendant by Menu up above once again. This is the north face of the building, really just for orientation. This is what you would see if you parked in the ADA space or in the spaces adjacent to it and you're entering in from the back side of the building. We have our fluted aluminum marching off towards the east, and this again is going to be our polygal clad aluminum on the right. So you get this muted and somewhat playful reflectivity. So what we see in the model is actually not a great representation. You're actually going to see a snippet of blue sky, and you're going to see the hedge that is located directly behind us in this view on this surface as well as this surface. It'll be different. The stretch of the reflection obviously on these hemisphere flutes is going to be different than what you would see on a flat surface, but we think there's going to be a lot of interesting light play throughout the day because of these different reflective surfaces. Here we have arrived at the level 3 entry to the lobby space, and we are met immediately by Katifa 80 lounge chair by Arper, and this is upholstered with a Chimera mainline flax upholstery, and we're doing a custom area rug to really let this be one singular piece that is accented by this large custom light fixture, which we're seeing as a 3 to 4 inch diameter acrylic tube that is full spectrum LED, dimmable, and so this, I imagine, coming in on a standard day would just be glowing in amber, sort of amber gold color. And then this area is defined primarily by these custom aluminum pipe planters and by the reception desk off to the left. And so we're using this sort of landscape of forms to delineate space versus making more compartmentalized traditional, walls and corridors. This is a great way to show off the expansiveness of your office without being so prescriptive and sort of limiting as walls would be. This also lets light just flow through the space as best as possible. Rotating now a little bit towards the east, we have our zigzag polycarbonate wall that marches towards the south, and that becomes the division between sort of public and private. So everything out here being reception and conference, and behind us is the sort of lounge / living room for the office. And then beyond this zigzag wall, we have the first exposure to the workstations. We call this the east bullpen. And then beyond this glass here again is our conference room. The conference room currently, per our last discussion, is in redesign. So we're looking at that now, and we're imbuing that with more of a cowboy western flair, potentially looking at using camel colored leather and woods that are going to hit more of that southwestern mark. Pivoting now, this is our sort of hero shot looking axially at a reception desk here. This is a fantasy zebra marble piece that we found that we think is going to be really spectacular. Both on the first floor and the third floor, we're going with very heavy body, big moves, kind of stone selections that we think are going to be very, very dramatic. And getting those dialed in is going to take some effort, but I think we've found some good pieces that are available, and we're excited to get those going. This is a custom lasso pendant that is situated above our conference room. Let me just pivot over to that conference room. And again, these selections here are going to change, and we're currently rethinking what this light is in conjunction with this entire scene. But we're cooking up some good options for you to review in our next pass. I'm going to now pivot us back towards our living room scene. Here again we have our Bellini sofa on the left. This is the Camaleonda and the Edit Hazelnut upholstery that we've selected. This is currently in production, which we're very, very excited about. Arco lamp, you can see here in the distance, this terminates in a nice Carrara marble solid base. And then we have a custom, this is a Kaiserworks piece here on the right hand side. We wanted something that was friendly, inviting, warm. We did not want a hard glass table surface, for example. This is where the family comes to eat. This is where the office comes to eat, and you can sort of slide into this cozy corner, or you can pick a chair. but we feel this has the right balance of warmth while being at the same time sophisticated and mid-century in the general design direction. And I'm just backing up to give us a little scene of that overall reception looking into the lounge scene. On the right hand side here we have our tectum wall cladding surface, and above that we have our McNichols grating, which is going to be this continuous treatment, which is functional. We're blowing air through that. A lot of our heating and ventilation is dialed into work in concert with that continuous treatment up there. And now I'm going to walk us back to the other side, looking back across the living room, deeper into the office. Here you can see how our cactus planters do a great job of creating zones without using walls per se. And so you have a bank of cactus, succulents, and other plants that are synonymous with our desert context that you use as a screen to divide more casual space from more formal spaces. On the left hand side here we have our kitchen. This is another area per our last meeting that we are reworking. We're looking at the material palette of almost all components in this scene right now per that last presentation. Before I move towards that, here above the dining table we are envisioning reintroducing a bit of what was seen already on the first floor. You have this cluster of globe lights. We have now sourced a globe light that's large enough to pull off what we're showing here in the model, and we're excited to get that going. Pivoting now, this is a bit of the hero shot again, looking axially down this path back towards the reception area. And then here we are in the kitchen scene. As a backdrop, this current iteration is showing again this reflective polygal that again would be picking up light. You'd actually see the reflections of these ribbon windows marching through this, and you would get the movement. If someone's sitting at the bar, you'd see their reflection in this backdrop at sort of in a muted fashion. This bone color for the millwork as well as for the solid surface counter is basically, if you will, the plastic version of our tectum. The idea is that this big tectum volume just got carved back, and this is revealing the cut faces of that tectum. That's kind of conceptually the direction that we're going with. But again, this pendant light, this island surface, the chairs, all of it is something that we're currently looking at alternative options per that last meeting. And now I'm going to pivot back over to the north bullpen, looking down towards the east corner. And in this scene right here, we have our Atlas stool by Alias. This is in a Chimera urban fabric. We see this, we're using color selectively, sparingly in a general neutral, warm palette. And so these are very thoughtfully placed. We don't want to overdo it with color, and we're letting plants be some of that color. But this is one of these moments where you have something that's kind of unexpected. This fabric is really beautiful in person, more so than it is here on the screen. Pivoting, looking to the south and east a little bit here, we have a sycamore. This is a European sycamore custom desk that we're doing. This is going to be a homosote material. That is a sound soaker, so it helps deaden the space acoustically. It also can be a pinning surface to put to tack things onto walls. That might be something you want to prevent from happening in your office or not, but you have that flexibility. And then coming across the top of that, we previously had the Ptolemeo task lamp by Artimity in this space. We thought the visual clutter was a bit extreme, and so we decided we're going to take that away. And what we're doing instead, not shown in this model, but we're going to do a powder coated bent plate that rides across the top of that homosote. That's going to have an LED light integrated into it, so you can wash your desk surface and the face of that homosote with that LED light, and that's per individual desk. That'll create almost a nice library light effect in this bullpen here. The lights we're showing up above, we opted not to go with. These aren't large enough for the sort of scene that we're trying to do. If I just pivot back a little bit back here, we are we're working now with a new light source that has a 40-inch diameter, very thin light that we would suspend slightly higher than these are shown here. We think that's going to be a really dramatic light that's going to also yield good uniform light as a work surface. So we'll be showing that in the next iteration, and we've already got that queued up for purchasing. Rotating here, you can see these um, these small stations here, the come along stations. Again, with our tectum surface, you sort of make these incisions, you cut these incisions out for access, in this case to the bathroom core, and then in this case further down we have, this is egress, and this will also be the phone booth if you need to make a private call. That's tucked around that corner on that side. Pivoting now, without going into the space, I'm just looking down the corridor where our bathrooms are located. Drinking fountains are on the left-hand side, and this again is a material that will match the planters, which is a softly reflective aluminum pipe treatment that we'll be using for the wall and the ceiling in that space. And now I'm pivoting back towards the east. Looking towards the east, we'll march down here. We have Dave's office on the left-hand side, which you basically step into an ebonized world where the floor surface is going to be a dark end grain floor by Caswell that we're very excited about, that we'll be using here and in the executive suites over to the right, which you'll see in just a minute. Here we have the scene here. Here again, we're making some changes per this last meeting that we had. And we've got some exciting developments that we're excited to share with you. We're not quite there yet. And let me just pivot us into one variation from what you're seeing here to what is being worked on in the millwork. Is we have a side piece of millwork here that comes across that this desk docks onto. But other than that, this is fairly consistent with what we're with the direction we are heading in. And then pivoting around, we can see, let me just do this here. We can see the scene as we had it in our last meeting. These were the aux chairs. We were excited about these chairs. We think they're very expressive, and yeah, this was a scene we liked. But I think functionally what we're trying to hit now is, as we discussed in the last meeting, was having a lounge area with a banquette that comes across this space where people can, multiple, let's say 5 or 6 people can come in and have more of a meeting versus having this be strictly kind of lounge space. And then pivoting over to our executive office chairs. Yeah, so in these offices we have our sycamore, European sycamore desks. We're showing a tectum back wall in this space. That again is an effort to kind of deaden the space acoustically. And then on the ground we have the ingrained flooring by Caswell, this really dark, rich wood floor. This is a Katifa Sunset upholstered mainline flax chair group. So we have, if someone's coming into this office, we have a lower back version and then the mid back version for the executive that's sitting behind the desk. And this is pivoting more to the sort of axial shot. And now I'm zooming back down, looking at our east bullpen. East bullpen, again, this is our European sycamore. These dock onto a continuous sidebar that's continuous storage. Here again we have a polygal. In this case this is a transparent polygal, so light from the windows is pushing through there beautifully. And then we have a Katifa 53 chair with a vegan leather in putty as the primary chair for this area. These are going to be done with polished chrome arms and legs, and actually, you know what, the millwork that we're showing here is being updated. We've gone away from this file cabinet to one that's integrated where the wood is a portion or part of that desk surface. Rotating to this corner executive office, here again we see that aux chair as a corner piece. We like putting something of a sort of a conversation piece on axis with that hallway, just so it sort of commands the attention at the end of the space. This could also just be a large grouping of potted plants, which we're showing some there as well. And I think this last scene lands us back kind of where we started here on the 3rd floor. We are looking back into our lounge area. This is the reception desk that you would be greeted by when you come in off of that elevator. And that concludes, this is a quick, I realize that was a fast-paced overview. We feel this is going to be good just for reference for people to get their head into the project a little bit, and for reference as we're dialing in our furniture package. So we look forward to your thoughts on this. Thank you.